I'm Erin Lawler-Patterson, the goodness chick. I'm an addictions counselor, motivational speaker, author, and parent coach. Join me on the journey of navigating the joys and pitfalls of life, addressing parenting, giving back, mental health, addiction, and relationships. If it takes a village, then join me as one of those villagers. Villagers wanted. All right, so today I am extremely pumped to have a friend of mine here who is a fellow, we'll say, drug guy, a SAC counselor. And I feel like a lot of times people don't really get what we do. I'm introducing Jeff Pensabene.
Hello, how's everybody doing today?
They're here with us in heart and spirit.
Absolutely.
And Jeff and I have known each other a while, and he's front lines in the trenches when it comes to working with kids. If you want to kind of like give our listeners a little bit of an idea of, I'll say, what your day is like.
What my day
What's
is
your
like.
day look like? Because I think you could kind of like, people have no clue what we do.
Right. My day is, I'll get into the office. I won't go into too much detail, but around 8:30, I would say my first student shows up around 8:31.
Okay.
If it's that late.
Okay.
One thing about our jobs is you're always on call. I don't make appointments. I want kids to feel they can come down anytime they want. So all throughout my day, I am seeing kids in reference to coming down. You know, when I talk about a SAC counselor, they say, strictly drug and alcohol. We do way more than that. Way more than that. That's just a part of it. I mean, kids with the depression, the anxiousness, the anger management. I mean, that's every day you have that coming down. And especially some of the kids that we work with, what they go home to. A school is their safe place. Yeah. They would much rather be in school than be at home and dealing with what they're dealing with at home.
Absolutely.
So all day long, I'm dealing with, seeing kids in reference to that. The kids that have gotten in trouble with drug or alcohol, I see them on a regular basis, do a curriculum with them and work with them to stay clean. But that's majority of my day. It's just seeing kids. I also am the anti-bullying specialist, so that's a whole nother realm of the job, but I deal with all the bullying issues.
So you wear a lot of hats?
A lot of hats. A lot of hats.
I know one of the things that sometimes I've heard people say, I hope my kid never sees you, which kind of makes me cringe a little bit, because I feel like, man, we should be seeing every kid.
Or you have a SAC counselor, so I'm not sending my kid to that school because that means there's drug and alcohol there.
Right.
It's just ridiculous. Yeah.
It's everywhere. It's in every high school. And I say when there is a SAC, which there should be, a full-time one in every single school.
Understand why that's not mandated. I don't understand.
Right.
I don't understand.
And we freak out. We're hearing about this whole opiate epidemic. Like, you can't turn on the TV, your Twitter account, your radio, and it's opiate. And then
now it's crisis time.
It's crisis time.
What are you guys doing about it?
Right. Well, and it's we're kind of like firefighters that are given one bucket to go hit a bunch of row homes on fire.
Yep.
Like, how effective can we really be? And we do wear a lot of hats. And it's not just drugs. That's like the tip of the iceberg.
It's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, but you also have to look when dealing with someone who's an addict or an alcoholic. There's always a reason behind their using.
Yeah, man.
So as soon as you stop the drugs and alcohol, that's just one part of the whole thing you do. As soon as you've done that, now you got a whole nother onion that you got to start peeling, and why they're using. Kids don't use for or an adult, they don't use for no reason at all. There's always an underlying issue. So once you get them to stop the drug and alcohol, then you can start working on the process of finding out what the heck's going on.
How many of you are in your school?
About 850.
Okay.
Yeah, about 850.
And how many SACs?
One SAC.
One SAC.
One SAC, and I work for two high schools. My district has two high schools, and I was the only SAC for both high schools. And the other schools around 1,200 kids.
Okay. Recently,
within the last year or so, that we hired another SAC for part-time at the other school So I'm glad our new superintendent is really, is jumping on the actions of taking care of this.
Right.
Is very supportive of us.
That's awesome. Which makes a huge difference.
It's huge. I hear these nightmares from SACs about they're not being supported by administration and stuff like that, and stay out of this, that type of thing. My administration has my back 100%. They're there for the kids. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
It's about the kids. It's not about the paycheck. And if you're in it for that reason, you're in it for the wrong reason.
Well, you have the wrong job.
Wrong job, yeah.
Yeah. And I think when it comes to a SAC, and some of you guys listening, maybe your kid or you didn't have a SAC in your high school. It's something middle school, elementary school, I think we believe strongly needs to be a presence, because we're on the front lines and we have mental health, challenges, addiction that are just, it's like the roof is caving in.
It is.
And
it blows my mind when I hear kids, I'll ask a kid that I meet in somewhere, or even my nephew, I'm like, who's your SAC counselor? What's a SAC counselor?
Yeah.
You don't even know what your SAC counselor is. Well, I don't have a drug and alcohol problem. I don't have to go to them, and it's sad. It is sad, but hopefully it's going to get better. I'm hoping. You gotta. I mean, if you
keep going forward,
if you get negative about it, you're hurting the kids. You're not helping anybody. So you got to stay positive.
Yeah, and that's why I think we all try to stick together.
Absolutely.
Positive brings
Stick
positive.
Stick your stuff around positive people, man. That is so important. The world is negative enough. If you go in every day with that negative attitude,
it's like it's toxic.
It's poison.
Yeah.
It's a poison. It goes from one person to another. Yep.
Domino. So you've been a SAC for how long?
I've been in a school for 8 years. Prior to that, I worked at a drug and alcohol rehab center for 12 years. So I worked with kids from 13 years old to adults 90 years old. So
wow.
I worked in a rehab center for a long time, and I loved every second of it.
That's awesome.
So, but I wanted to get into the school setting, so I've been working at the school and it took me 4 years to get a SAC job.
Yeah.
And I quit my full-time job at the rehab center to start a part-time job at the SAC at my school where I'm at now. It was only like 12 hours a week. I got rid of my health insurance, and thank God I got a supportive wife, and she's like, go for it. This is your dream job, because I needed to get into the schools and say, look, this is what's going on. And so I quit a full-time job, did a part-time job, and I trusted my administration, and next year they went to bat for me, and I've been full-time ever since.
And they're pretty lucky to have you.
Yeah, I'm lucky to have them, man. Every day is... it's not a job.
Yeah.
It's not a job. I just love working with the kids. My kids are great, man. They're great.
Yeah, I consider just blessed to have this gig that's just the craziest, most awesome.
So blessed.
Gig that you can have, and it is. I think it's a journey. Like, I think about what led me to become a SAC. It was not on my to-do list in high school.
No.
Like, what were your plans when you were in high school, and then why did you become a SAC?
Well, first off, I can't believe I even graduated high school for the first part. I don't know what miracle that was, but. Let's see. One of my first major in college, I think I was a marine biologist.
Nice.
Because I'm like you. I love the beach. It's my favorite place on the earth. Marine biologist. Then I went to a forestry major. And then I realized I know nothing about science, and I can't stand science. And believe it or not, I had this job at a local camp place around here, and they would send me all the kids that would get in trouble, and I just loved working with these kids that, are the troublemakers and stuff like that. And like you say, it's a gift. I'm very blessed to have this gift where I can connect with the kids, and they listen to me, they trust me and stuff like that. And then I'm like, what am I doing? This is what I want to do. I want to help things, so that's how I got into this field.
Awesome.
Yeah. Very, very blessed.
It's it's such a cool journey. I love, when you have all of us different SACs in a room, like what road led us to be kind of where we're at. And this is one of the things, like, I think anybody in the helping profession, whether you're a firefighter, you're a nurse, you're a doctor, you're an OT, you're a SAC. So it can sometimes be really challenging to leave what you've heard at the door. At the end of the day, is that something you have struggled with?
Gosh, when I first got this job right out of college, I thought I was the man. I can handle anything, and I'm going home every night. And it actually even cost me a relationship because I couldn't handle it. Yeah. Like I was bringing it home with me every night, and I guess that's normal. I mean, people have to realize that we're human beings too. Like, this stuff affects us, and when it doesn't affect you, that's a problem. That's when you got to keep yourself in check. I had a supervisor gave me the best advice I've ever done, and I always try to give it to new workers. As soon as I'm done work, I go home, and my drive home, I process the day. Whatever. As soon as I walk in that door, I take off the clothes I wore to work that day, and I put it in the closet, now soon my mentality is, as soon as I get that off, I'm no longer the counselor. I'm back to being Jeff. I'm back to doing that. So it took a while. It's hard, but it takes a while. Get that uniform off, and then let's get back to being yourself, because you have to be yourself. You have to take care of yourself too as a counselor. I mean, you're hearing horror stories after horror stories that you can't believe these kids go through. And if you don't meditate or hike, or I think it's very, very important for a counselor to go to a counselor.
Oh yeah.
If you don't have your stuff under control, or you don't have your head clear, you're no good to anybody. So it's very important that the counselors, the SACs, they have to take care of themselves, and we do, and we're there for each other as a SAC community. People don't get it, but we're a family, and we're there for each other. We'll do everything we can, and it's great to bounce things off one another. So yeah, it's very important that you leave it at work, and because if not, you're not going to sleep at night. You can't turn off your brain. So it's hard.
Yeah, and I think self-care is for like so many people. I don't know if it's a pride thing or just like I feel weird about it, but how it's a requirement for you to be able to function healthy and do your job, whatever your job is. Otherwise at some point it kicks you in the butt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you're you're making dinner or you're out for a run, and when those things seep in your head, it takes away from your ability to kind of function.
Yep.
I definitely struggled with that my first few years.
Yeah, it took me a good year and a half before I was able to leave it at home. And I think that that process time on the way home in your car is where it's very, very important. You process that day, okay, blah, 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 that's it. I'll tell you what, when I get home, I don't check emails, I don't touch my computer, nothing.
Yeah.
Home is Jeff's time. It's not where, and I have to do that, or I'm no good in the counseling room. So.
Well, it's fighting for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fighting for you.
It is, yeah.
Which I don't think, if we don't fight for us, then no one else is fighting for us. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I'm going to kind of shift a little bit to the whole opiate thing, which, again, I feel like, everybody's talking about. Heads are spinning about it.
Right.
Like lots of, this just kind of gets me frustrated sometimes, like a lot more pointing fingers instead of like coming up with like tangible solutions. Yeah, I do. And it's like, so if you were to say like one area that you think people need to be more aware of in terms of bridging the gap with the potential for addiction, but them safeguarding the people that they love, like what would you say? Because I feel like this is in our face.
Right. To me, one of the main issues is that, you don't wake up as a heroin addict. There's a process to get there. And it starts with, there's signs way beforehand. And you can't ignore those signs. Enabling is such a difficult issue. And as a parent, I can't imagine how hard it must be to be dealing with a child who's struggling with addiction and not wanting them to get in trouble or something like, what did I do wrong as a parent? It's nothing to do with that. It really doesn't. To get them the help as soon as possible. Don't wait. A drug is a drug. I've gone to several heroin addicts and opiate addicts' funeral, and not one of them ever started doing heroin. Yeah. Not one ever started doing heroin. It always starts, with the, like now I think they always say gateway drugs, marijuana. Right now it's the vaping, man. That's how it starts out. It starts with that, and it transfers, goes there, and no one just starts out at that high level. So, the prevention and talking to people and getting help, and it's okay. What parents, I try to tell parents, everything you pretty much need to know is on that phone. Yeah. And that you pay that bill. It's okay to go through it. Yeah. It's okay to have access to all their accounts and everything like that. There is nothing wrong with that. You pay that bill, you should know exactly what's going on in your child's life. Every information that you need. That's one of the positive things about social media, is that parents can stay on top of it if they take a second and go through their accounts, go through their phones. I always tell parents, go through it. Go through it. Find out what's going on. It's okay. And then when you see something, do something about it. Let the school know. Let the counselors know. Get them into treatment. Get them to help out. Because I'll tell you what, once you hit that 1-8 number, it's a totally different game.
Yeah.
People don't get that.
They don't get it, man.
Like, I think sometimes they see us as the enemy. Like, I'm not going to reach out to Jeff
Right.
because, what are they going to think of my kid? Are they going to get my kid in trouble?
Right.
And I'm like, dude, oh my gosh, we're on the front lines. We want to help your kid before they're a part of our community, and we can help them.
Right.
Like, that's not, we're limited to the high school years.
Right.
Or, the middle school years. And that stigma, I think, a lot of times, at getting the school involved. Dude, we have numbers. We can get help in a way that is harder for a lot of people.
Yep.
And I don't know how, you have people remove that stigma, or help is needed.
Right.
I had someone reach out to me to say, somebody I care about, this was over the weekend, is struggling with, they're using meth.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to detox on their own. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. And I think so many times,
So
people, I can handle it. And I'm like, this isn't your detoxing from weed. It's life threatening. And I think the more we dialogue, especially with opiates, where, my kid had, their tonsils taken out and they were given a Percocet, or my husband blew his knee out and given a Percocet, and now they're full blown.
I can't tell you how many times I've dealt with that.
Right? And you did nothing wrong.
No, I can't tell you. That's like the main thing I saw in the rehab center is these poor athletes, man.
Did nothing wrong.
Athletes, and they did nothing wrong, and then they can't afford the pills, so they go to heroin because it's much cheaper, much easier to get. And it's the same story over and over again. These doctors, it's so easy to prescribe, and not to stay on top of it or whatever.
They're still giving it out like Pez candy.
It's disgusting. I mean, there's so many doctors out there right now that I know in the drug and alcohol field, or you want Suboxone or something like that. It's a cash only visit. Mm-hmm. They don't want it's cash.
Isn't that sketchy?
Cash only. And who's are sending them? The rich parents, or the people with the wealthy money are sending them. I don't want my kids knowing. It's not on my insurance. And this doctor, I know this one doctor just takes cash. Just cash. You need a Suboxone script. Here you go. Cash.
Well, because there's big money. I mean, where we used to live 2 years ago, the town will remain nameless.
Right.
Where we went to our pharmacy, they were busted for an oxy ring.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everywhere. And I think too many times, my kid or my husband would never, you can't say that anymore. And this is where it's like dialoguing. Dude, no, and ask questions to your doctor. Are there options outside of Percocets? And if there's an issue and red flags are going, get help.
What signs should I look for? Let the parents know what signs to look for if this is getting out of hand. You got to stay on top of that stuff. And I think that's one of the main issues is, with parents, they're not involved as much. And some to their credit, it can't be a single parent family anymore. You have to have two jobs. Both parents have to work. And so it's tough, man. It is really, really tough. But parents know more before anybody if their child's using. They know before anybody.
That gut feeling.
They know.
Yeah.
And they're afraid. Sometimes they're afraid, or they close their eyes and say, please go away. And
doesn't go away.
Sometimes it's too late. Yeah,
it's scary stuff.
It
so,
is.
So it's just going forward, right. Asking questions. And I think that just makes our kids safer and us on kind of a better path.
Right.
I do. It's crazy, dude. It's craziness. So if you were, I am going to kind of wrap this up a little bit.
Yeah.
Where if you were to kind of leaving, I believe in little kernels of goodness. We talked about positivity and positive, and which I think goes wicked far. What's something that you would kind of leave the listener with that, kind of, whether that's your mantra, how you look at life, how you tackle things as a SAC?
I'll tell you, there's one word that I teach to my students all the time, and that's gratitude, man.
Yeah.
So grateful for what you have. Definitely you're going to go through dark times. You're definitely going to go through times where you feel like crap, you don't want to get out of bed, stuff like that, or somebody dies. It sucks, man. There's nothing to say that. But think of all the positive things you have going on in your life. Kids that, have little things, like you have clothes to put on your back in the morning, you come downstairs, there's food in the refrigerator for you to eat. I can't tell you how many kids in this country don't have that. So I always push to gratitude. Always there's, I know it's said all the time, but there's someone out there that has it worse than you. And if you focus on the positive things you have in your life and not the negative, you'll start appreciating it more. And
absolutely.
And sometimes we take, including myself, I take it for granted, man. I take it for granted how lucky I really, really am. I mean, there's so many things I'm blessed for, like have a job that I love. You know, there's so many people out there wake up in the morning and they go to jobs and they may have all the Lexuses and all the Mercedes, but they're not happy. I mean, my buddy has this tattoo that I laughed at first and then it really hit me like it's awesome. And his tattoo says, "This ain't no rehearsal. You're only on here one shot."
Yeah, one shot.
And I laughed. I'm like, that's ridiculous. And then I'm like, wow, that's so.
Yeah.
It's true.
One shot.
One shot. That's it. So yeah, gratitude, man. Be grateful for things that you have. Be grateful for that. As much as your parents are paying a butt or your job, your boss is paying a butt. Be thankful. Say thank you every once in a while. You know, do a little thing. You know, whatever it is, but be grateful for what you have.
Goes far.
It does, man. It does. It really does.
Nice.
Be grateful for great friends, the SACs.
Yeah, man. SAC power.
SAC power, and just seeing you excel is gratitude, because you, I look up to you. Like,
thanks, man.
You and Sue Bryan are the two people that, you know, that's what I want to be. You know, kids want to be Superman and stuff. That's what I want to be. I want to make that connection and make that changes that you guys make, man. It's beautiful to see.
Yeah,
so
I appreciate
congratulations
that. Thanks,
on everything.
Man.
Thank you for having me. This is an honor. And
it's an honor having you here.
Yeah.
And it is. It's like, I feel like for us, like our little cluster of our SAC people, like it's just such a beautiful gig to have that's so tiring and overwhelming, but so unique.
Yeah.
Like it is a club that I'm proud to be a part of.
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, with, you know, you guys that are listening, you know, Jeff is a rock star. You don't do the SAC gig for the paycheck. I will tell you that. It's for the relationships. It's for the depth and the substance, and finding whatever you're supposed to do in life. Find that stoke. Find those people, those colleagues, and people who do the same thing, and that just make you stronger and better. Because this isn't a rehearsal.
No.
And it's a one shot, and rock and roll.
Yeah, and there's going to be that negative person at your job, at your home. There's going to be people that try to
always,
bring.
Always bob and weave.
Weave. You kill them with kindness, man. The people that are negative to you, just be nicer to them, and hopefully that will rub off onto them.
Yeah, rock and roll.
And against gratitude. Thank God I'm not like that, where I'm miserable at everything.
Yep.
You know.
And every day's a gift.
And every day's a gift. It's true.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you very much.
Peace out, my friends.
Peace out.
Have a wonderful day, and get your gratitude, the attitude of gratitude. Think positive things, and knowing that your words and your actions make a difference.
Absolutely.
Peace, love, and goodness, my friends.
If you enjoyed today's show, I encourage you to subscribe to Goodness Chicks podcast and pass it along to your friends. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and have a great day.